Forget the curveball. Forget the slider. Kazuhiro Wada, the new Seibu Lions manager, is managing his 20-year-olds based on the rules of another world.
And if you think that's ridiculous, remember, this is a man who was stopped 27 outs into a perfect game, one single swing away from history, 8 separate times during his career.
He knows exactly what it feels like to fail and wish for a reset button. This revelation isn't some backroom gossip. It came straight from the man himself when asked about fostering communication with the youngest core of the Lions roster. In the rigid, hierarchical world of Nippon professional baseball, the relationship between the kantoku, manager, and his players is often distant, built on reverence and fear. The classic protocol involved the veteran manager taking the young aces to an expensive Ginza club, a power display, a demonstration of the adult. But that era is gone, buried under the rapidly shifting tectonic plates of youth culture. Wada knows the old playbook is obsolete. He admitted openly that when he asks his players what they're watching, the answer isn't the news or an NPB classic, it's Isekai anime, the genre centered around protagonists being transported or reincarnated into a magical alternate reality. The staggering truth is that Wada, at 53, is diving headfirst into this fantasy world. He watches it, he understands the core concepts. He does this solely to achieve conversational synchronization. He confessed that sometimes he'll watch an entire series and then casually bring it up in the locker room just so he can meet them on their own linguistic ground. "I'll mention that one was interesting," he says, "and we connect on the same." This is not just casual viewing. This is a calculated, strategic dive into psychology. It's managerial jujitsu, using the player's own interests to break down the traditional walls of authority. The transcript notes the observation that the new generation is vastly different from their predecessors. They are Zach Baran, frank, open, and willing to approach the manager almost as a peer, almost as a friend. This dynamic, which would have been unthinkable 20 years ago, likely resulting in a swift demotion or a fine, is now the foundation of Wada's team culture. He is embracing the shift, knowing that forcing the outdated structure will only breed resentment and isolation. If the manager refuses to leave the 1990s, he cannot possibly lead players whose entire communication structure is governed by viral memes and instantly accessible streaming content. But let's talk about the delicious irony here, because Kazuhiro Wada's entire career is a perfect metaphor for the isekai genre itself. For those unfamiliar, isekai often features a main character who suffers a terrible fate, usually death, and is then reincarnated or reborn, gifted with special powers, and given a chance to achieve what they failed to do in their first life. Now, consider Wada, one of the greatest strikeout artists of his generation, whose Hall of Fame candidacy is tainted by a single, agonizing statistic. He never threw a no-hitter. The transcript touches on this darkly humorous analogy. They're watching the anime about being stopped 1 out away from a no-hitter, no matter how many times you whit. This is the cruel, repetitive fate of Wada. He was the perpetual nearly man. He would ascend to the precipice of pitching immortality, only for the world to reset on him with one untimely blooper or one late-inning defensive collapse. In his mind, achieving a championship as a manager is his reincarnation, his ultimate opportunity to secure the legacy that eluded him on the mound. He needs these young players to achieve it. So, if they communicate best through the language of fantasy worlds, then he will become the ultimate dungeon master. The traditionalists are, of course, scoffing. The comments suggest skepticism. Is he just watching anime because he wants to? Does a player who spends his focus on escapist fantasy lack the self-awareness required of a professional athlete? Will he be looked down upon by his team? These critiques miss the entire point of modern leadership. The manager's job is not to dictate behavior, but to optimize performance, and performance is underpinned by trust. If the choice is between a manager who talks about the 1978 Lions roster that his players have never heard of, or a manager who can have a 5-minute discussion about skill points and magical abilities, the latter is going to forge a deeper, more immediate connection. This isn't about enjoying the content. It's about understanding the current lexicon of motivation and distraction. Wada is demonstrating empathy, proving he values their interests enough to invest his own limited time.
He has bypassed the need for authority and replaced it with a shared vocabulary.
This strategic adaptation is crucial because the environment surrounding NPB has changed drastically. Players today enter the league saturated in digital culture, where information flows instantly and hierarchies are often flattened online.
Wadai recognizes that if he adheres to the rigid protocols of the past, only engaging in serious baseball talk or old man talk, like pachinko, as suggested in the commentary, he risks being relegated to an irrelevant figurehead.
He is choosing relevance. He is choosing connection.
He is essentially telling his players, I see your world. I understand the rules of the realm you inhabit. Now let's apply that focus, that dedication to mastery, to the real world of...
Kazuhiro Wada isn't just watching anime, he's conducting a sociological experiment on the NPB landscape. He is attempting to unify the ambition of professional sports with the escapism of fantasy media. The success of the 2024 Seibu Lions will not only be a test of their talent on the field, but a definitive answer to a crucial question. Can championships be won by a manager who knows the difference between a slime and a demi-human?
He is sacrificing the traditional authority of the manager for the communicative power of a peer.
Will this unorthodox, unprecedented approach yield a Japan Series title? It's too early to tell. But one thing is certain, Wada is proving that the path to success in modern sports management isn't paved with high-priced cigars and golf stories, but sometimes by the very strange, compelling logic of an alternate reality. The stakes are immense. He is attempting to reincarnate the entire Lions franchise into a world where they finally achieve glory. If you thought managing through fantasy was strange, wait until you hear about the pitcher who bases his entire windup on a specific Gundam transformation sequence, believing it generates maximum kinetic energy. That's next, and we'll break down the weirdest, most effective mechanics in NPB history. You won't believe what they are teaching at spring training next season.